I think one of the biggest pieces that why getting quiet is so important is because, as I mentioned, like we'll continue the way the brain works is to continue to take us down a path that we've already taken, even if it's like riddled with pain and fear and suffering, if it didn't kill us the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so that's why like so many people can't see that it's like why do I keep repeating these same patterns? Because I was the same as everyone else, right? Like, and I
Mm-hmm.
still am. Like, I'm constantly, you have to continue to battle against it, right? That's why I'm obsessed with change now. Like, I love changing things up. I love putting myself into uncomfortable situations that I
Mm-hmm.
haven't been in before because I'm forcing my brain to try and find new ways around something. And now I love it because I know on the other side of that is growth.
Mm-hmm.
But when you first start, it's like, it's so painful. It's so uncomfortable. And you're still living your life from a place of fear. But the biggest question, like, I think is the most important thing to ask people is like, this is why like slowing down my nervous system was so important in the beginning because I was like, I'm having the type of fear, like anxiety and fear based responses in my body, like my life's being threatened.
Mm-hmm.
Why is my heart racing in the middle of the night because of a work email?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's not okay. You know, I need to train my nervous system to have those responses when there truly is imminent danger. And I need to know that that's the truth because,
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm I'm getting so confused in my head that which is then making me exacerbate and create make myself believe that work is way more important than it is. Right? When you really
Mm-hmm.
peel back, you're like, what's the worst thing that could happen? Like I get fired? What does getting fired mean? Does getting fired mean like I'm gonna die? You know? Like a
Mm-hmm.
terrible death? No. So then like why is my body giving me that fear response? You know, and that's conditioned. We're
Mm-hmm.
conditioned into that. And so, like, doing the deconditioning process is so huge, which is why being quiet is so important. There's this one monk who I really enjoy. He teaches at the Vancouver Meditation Center,
Mm.
and is it him or is it my friend? My friend's one of the teachers there as well. She's talking about how, like, when we're trying to create new habits, when we're trying to create new neural pathways in our brain, most people get really frustrated because it's like it's really hard. It's like people read all sorts of stuff about like building habits and like how to do all of that, but the reality is that like the brain is just saturated. It's like imagining like a saturated cloth, like that's saturated with like ink,
Mm-hmm.
and then you want to go put more ink on it, like you can't see it, and then it's just
Mm-hmm.
muddied in with all of this other stuff that you do before you can lay something new in. You have to remove everything. And
Mm.
removing everything is the painful part because that's the space in between. That's the space in between who you've been and who you're going to be. And you don't know who you're going to be. And like, can you live with that? Can you live in the space in between? And those who are courageous enough to try will be rewarded. But you can't lay anything new in until you're willing to remove everything. And removing everything is strange. It's weird. You don't know who you are anymore. You don't know your identity. People don't know how to relate to you.
Mm-hmm.
You're not eliciting the same reactions like you used to. You're not laughing at the same jokes. You're not showing up the same way. You're not eating the same food. You're talking about different things. You're not gossiping. You're not all of that. And then people don't know how to relate to you and you don't know how to relate to them and you start to feel like an alien. And then that has its own, feelings that go with it because you're like, am I an alien? Like what is happening?
Mm-hmm.
And on the other side of that is like so much space to be like, who do I want to be? But it's hard at first, right? Because you realize that oftentimes, like even a lot of the people in our lives, like relationships, partners, friendships, jobs, none of it's in line. It's
Mm-hmm.
all incongruent. That's scary. That's scary
Yeah.
because like I said, once you lift the veil, you
Mm-hmm.
can't put it back.
No.
So now you're just like, oh shit. Like, do I got to break up with my partner? Do I got to end friendships? Do I got to quit my job? You might,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you might have to. I don't know. That's going to be like whoever's experience. For me, a lot of those things did have to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Some didn't, but a lot did.
Mm-hmm.
And otherwise, a lot just shifted. But what's beautiful now is like the relationships that I have now with my friends. Like it was rocky. It's like shifting gears on a bike. It's like, ugh, it's weird and uncomfortable. I could have never imagined having like friendships that were so honest and loving and kind. And I don't have to I don't have to think that like I don't have to show up if I'm busy or if I'm focused on something else. Like my self-worth is at a place where like I'm not worried that they're not going to like me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm a bad friend. I know I'm not a bad friend. I'm a great friend. I'm a great friend even if I don't see my friend for a year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm a great friend because I care and I love them. And when I am with them, I show up wholeheartedly.
Mm-hmm.
And the discomfort in the transition is the hardest part.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so worth it.